Hello, fight fans, and we've done it. We made it. We made it to the day. This is it, the day, the glorious day that you've all been waiting for. It is UFC 246 fight day. Oh, the weigh-ins have happened. We've had all the incredible news stories break out throughout the week, but now it is time for the business. It's time to get down to business and talk about the predictions. What is going to go down on this event? Okay, so the first fight I want to go into today, we're going to go through the main card. My first fight I want to talk about is the Anthony Pettis versus Diego Ferreira fight. Interesting matchup, obviously, because you've got Ferreira right now. He's got the longest win streak on that entire card. He's doing incredibly well. He's been mauling folks left, right, and centre. But he's coming up against probably his biggest test that he's had so far in Pettis. Obviously, Pettis lost last time out against Nate Diaz, but we found out recently that in that fight he had a massive gash in his hand just before he went out there. He had that glued back together, taped up, then untaped up, and he had a lot going on. But then he still managed to go the full 5 rounds and just lose by decision. So I think we're going to see a very different Pettis in this fight. That being said, Ferreira is a bit of a monster. He throws absolute bombs in volumes. He tends to smother his opponents. He throws out some incredible kind of capoeira-style kicks. If you've seen him fight, you know what I'm talking about. But I think in this kind of fight, if he tries to smother Pettis, Pettis is the kind of guy who can take a lot of heat and then pick his shots and pick his moment. And they're both capable of very spectacular knockouts. Ferreira was a bit of a submission specialist in his career prior to UFC, but he's not really shown that in the octagon as of such, as so far. So I feel like in this kind of fight, I don't feel like it could go down to the ground. It could do, maybe, possibly, but I don't feel like it will. I think it will be on its feet, and I think if that is the case, I think Pettis is going to pick his shot. I think he's going to be a different fighter now. He looks better at lightweight. Looks a lot better than what he did at welterweight, personally. So yeah, my pick for that fight is Anthony Pettis. Take that to the bank. Okay, so the next part we're going to go into is the heavyweight clash between Alexei Oleinik and Maurice Greene. This one's very interesting. I like the clash. I think across this card altogether, every single fight is just a really nice amalgamation clash of styles. So this one, it involves a bit of a brute submission expert, I'd say, in Oleinik. He's been around for 4 decades. He's actually fought in 4 decades, okay? So that's incredible. He's not been around for 4 decades. Well, he has. He's 40, in his 40s, so he's been around for that long, but he's fought in every, 4 decades. That's the most in UFC history. So this guy, he's a seasoned, experienced veteran. So I feel like in this fight, I think if he gets close enough, if he kind of closes down that space and he gets Greene within his grasps, he has the capabilities to bring him down to the floor and lock in that incredible Ezekiel choke. It's one of the most unique kind of submissions that you see in UFC. If you've seen it, you know what I'm on about. But I feel like Maurice Greene has that ability to stand and pick his shots. He's so explosive and he moves like a light heavyweight. The guy is so fluid. So he does have the ability to go down to the ground as well. So if he gets stuck on the ground with Alexei, I don't think he's going to come up with as much trouble as what other heavyweights have done in the past. So my personal pick for that fight would be Maurice Greene to spark him out. I think there's going to be a knockout there. I don't feel like he's going to get tapped out by Alexei, and I don't feel like Alexei's got the accuracy in this kind of fight. He throws bombs. When they do catch you, you're in some serious trouble, but I don't feel like he's going to have enough to overcome Greene. So my pick for that is the Crochet Boss. Okay, the next fight I was going to talk about was the Claudia Gadelha versus Alexa Grasso fight, but obviously last night that got called off because Alexa Grasso missed weight by 6.5 pounds, I believe it was. So that's a massive shame. The two did want to fight. They still agreed to fight afterwards, but Nevada said no. There can only be a 3-pound difference between the fighters going into a fight in their rules, apparently. So yeah, it's a massive shame. It would have been a great styles clash. If it was to go down, I probably would have gone for Gadelha because I feel like if she took down Grasso, she'd be in some serious trouble. But yeah, that fight's not happening now, so we can just X that one off. That is not happening. So, next fight. Okay, so the next fight we're going to talk about is Holm versus Raquel Pennington. It's that bantamweight clash. It's an interesting one because obviously this fight first went down when Holm first came into the octagon. This was the first fight that she had. She won that by decision. So these two have gone down different paths since that fight. Holm went on to, I don't know if you know this, but she knocked out Ronda Rousey and won the bantamweight title with a nice cheeky head kick. I don't know if you've heard that. But then Raquel Pennington hasn't really scaled the heights that many thought she possibly could. She's been consistent to a certain degree, but I think her game doesn't really apply itself to finishing people, let's say. She can submit, she can apply that pressure, she can close you down, she can probably kind of grapple you out into submission, she can do that. But whereas Holm, I feel like, yeah, she's not got the strongest ground game, but she just has that flash knockout power. She throws that 1-2-3 head kick, you're in some serious trouble, as we've found out in the past. So this one's a tough one. I feel like if it goes the full 5 rounds, it's anyone's game. I think Raquel Pennington needs to keep that pressure up. She needs to close that space. Because if she finds herself at a distance with Holm and she gets that kind of, she creates that distance and throws that head kick, it could be lights out and it could be game over. But it's a weird one, because I feel like if Holly Holm wins this fight, I feel like she's straight back into title contention, whereas if Raquel Pennington does, she's still got a few rungs to kind of climb up. I don't think this is as big a scalp for her as what it would be for Holm. I think Holm's closer to that belt right now than what Pennington is. If Pennington loses, I really don't know where she goes from here. So I think, my personal opinion, I feel like it is going to go the full 5 rounds. I feel like if Raquel Pennington keeps that distance up and keeps pressuring her up against the cage and makes sure she does not leave herself open for that head kick, I think she's going to win this fight. Personally, I think she's got the fire in her. I've watched all her embedded videos recently, and she just seems like she's got a fire in her belly and she really wants this fight. So yeah, my bet, my pick for that fight would be Raquel Pennington. And we've made it to the main event on the main card of UFC 246. It is the story that is capturing imaginations around the world. It is Conor McGregor, the notorious one, versus Donald Cowboy Cerrone. It's a big one, all right? Biggest, one of the biggest fights of the year, possibly, yeah. Already in January, it's kicking off this year. Okay, so we've got Conor coming in. He's not fought since October 2018, when he got absolutely smashed by Khabib Nurmagomedov for that lightweight title. Whereas Cowboy, he fought a lot last year. Yeah, he had a lot of fights. He took on people like Ferguson, he took on Gaethje. He kept himself busy, and over that year, he started to re-establish himself as a bit of a lightweight contender. He dropped back down to that weight and looked really good. I think in terms of styles in this fight, I think it could really go, I know this is just an age-old kind of cliche, but it really could go either way at this point. I feel like if Conor comes in and starts at that high pace that he's known for, and he really puts that pressure on instantly, Cowboy could be in some serious trouble, because it's kind of known at this point that Cowboy's a bit of a slow starter. Once he's picked up the rhythm of his fighter and the guy he's up against, he tends to go into the fight, and he tends to suss out where he needs to go, when to time those kicks, if he's going to take someone down. He tends to pick his moments a bit better. Whereas Conor, he just comes in straight from the get-go, and he piles that pressure on for you. But equally, if Cowboy chooses to pile that pressure on later on in the fight, Conor has that countering ability. He can lure him onto him, bang, hit that left. He did it against Aldo very early in the fight, obviously, remember that. So this really could go either way, and it made me laugh. In the press conference recently, Cowboy came out and said, "You guys think it's going to be that easy just for me to take Conor down and submit him? Like, the guy can't defend himself." Conor is he can defend himself in terms of the takedown. He's got a mean defense game in that area. So I feel like this one isn't as clear-cut as many people think it is, and many people think Conor's just going to walk in, spark the guy out, or they think that Cowboy's just going to take him down to the floor and submit him. It's not going to be that easy. I think potentially we could go to the 2nd or 3rd round in this one. I don't feel like it's going to go the distance. I feel like Conor's going to have too much for him eventually, and as you've guessed from this pick, I'm going for Conor. I feel like he is going to have too much. Dana came out, obviously, I think he came out yesterday, he's still admitting that Conor should not be in this weight class. He should not be fighting He still thinks Cowboy's too big for him. So I think if he can prove that, and he can prove that he's still got some power in that massive, incredible left hand that he has, that perfectly timed left at this weight, he's probably going to stay in that division for a little bit longer and go after the welterweight title, maybe the BMF title, maybe even take that BMF title down to the lightweight division. That'd be incredible. I definitely want to see that. So my pick for the main event is the notorious one, Conor McGregor. I think it may be a 3rd round knockout for him, maybe even a TKO, I'm not too sure. But yeah, that is my pick. Those are my picks for UFC 246. Obviously, I hope you guys will all be tuning in, watching overnight. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you think is going to win in each of these fights. I really enjoy this card. I like this card because it's putting a lot of exposure. People said it isn't quite stacked. It's not got loads of mega names. You've got the biggest name kind of at the top, so I think we're okay in that sense. But down the fight, it's getting a lot of fighters that don't normally get this level of exposure are getting it because of Conor. Conor just casts a nice big cloud over everything, and everyone's going to watch it. I'm excited. I can tell that you're excited. And this is going to be one of the greatest UFC events of the year. So buckle up and enjoy the ride.